Hello, this is Oliver with another edition of 3Q with Oliver, an occasional conversation in which I have the pleasure of interviewing wonderful members of our community, whether they're students, staff or faculty. Today I have the distinct pleasure of speaking to our, almost most recent champion of the month, Dr. Mustajab Mirza, who is an associate professor of equine surgery within our Department of Veterinary Clinical Sciences. He's much loved, he's much acclaimed and exceedingly talented, and we are so fortunate to have him here amongst our family, professional family at LSU Vet Med. So let's see how Dr. Mirza exemplifies our values of innovation, compassion and integrity, and he certainly does all of that with aplomb. So welcome Mustajab, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you 3 questions, but I'm sure we'll probably go off script.
Yes, sir.
So bear with me as we navigate that. But we're really pleased to have you with us. You're a really valuable member of our team, and clearly your passion is equine surgery. You do a lot of our out-of-hours work. And tell us what a 48 to 72 hour window of your life looks like, especially with your out-of-hours work. I imagine that could take its toll, and how do you pace yourself, and what do you do to keep things on track? Because obviously emergencies, they present themselves at unexpected times with unexpected presentations, so how do you keep it all under control?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much everyone for this esteemed occasion, I would say, and thank you very much for having me.
That's
on
a
your
pleasure.
show. I would say, before I make something up that I don't have control over, I truly don't have control over 48 to 72 hours. It's dictated by, above all, students, house officers, and then the clients. And if I could have a cookie cutter version of 48 to 72 hours, it would be easy for me to explain, but it varies from one 48 hours to the next, depending on the lesion horses presented with, depending on the owner's input and their expectations of what they are referred in or are seeking help for. And it changes. It changes from presentation to what ends up the proceeding of that particular case.
Right.
Because they may go home and discuss with their family, they may go home and think more about it, they drive home and think about it. So the knee-jerk reaction or the emotional component is similar across. They are here at LSU for help. But what happens there onwards, it depends pretty much on the circumstances as the case-by-case basis.
And clearly you have a passion for your work, and I'm sure that fuels the energy and skill that you bring to it, and we're very well aware of that, and I'm really pleased that we were able to add to the equine team recently with John Noel Cruz, who's going to be a great help for you, I hope. Wonderful, and I know that your research interests are many and varied, but 2 in particular are fracture repair and healing, bone healing, but also, and this is what I'd like to focus on, rescuing animals and potentially people, their owners, in states of disaster, and sometimes not always disasters.
Sure.
Your expertise is renowned in this area, and for example, recently I'm aware of a story of you being called upon to rescue a distressed horse in a ditch. Tell us about your disaster preparedness and how you got into that area and what you're able to bring back to the community of, our region and state, Louisiana, in a way that you have done for several years. You're really an expert in the area. So how did you get into it?
Every veterinarian, and now AVMA mandates, they should be well aware of the basic needs of rescue across the board. So we edited, I was part of that list. Becky McConaughey is very instrumental because Rusty Moore sort of spearheaded the 2005 Katrina rescue efforts, which was spearheaded by Dr. Denny French at Lamar Dixon for horses. And then Dr. Duplantis, Dr. Gonsalon, and others, Dr. Jeffrey Artel, and did all that. That put us on the map.
Mm-hmm.
I got into, because of Becky McConaughey's efforts and having social media output for people's place to look for help, or she monitored social media. So boots on the ground are always the same. It's the same faces show up.
Right.
Every veterinarian, if I get a case in, Chuck takes care of it, Laura Riggs takes care of it, Colin Mitchell takes care of it,
Right.
John Well, as well as Dr. Liza, for the surgery aspect of it. So they are many faceted efforts which come to my name, and I should not really take all the credit, because all those people make me.
It's always a team effort, and
Yes,
certainly
sir.
we have a world-class team of equine medics and surgeons, yes.
Yes, sir. And so that's how it went about. That other horse, Dr. Colin Mitchell, got the call, and our base of that rescue is to help the local veterinarian help the people to get out of the harm's way or rescue their animal. Because of the size of the animal, it's not like a dog somebody would try.
Right.
And that led to a general message, who can go help, and that's how I got involved. He sent the message, hey, can you go help Dr. Gray out? And I would say, absolutely. So at that time, he could not get away from his commitment. He had other emergencies. So we rescued that horse. It was always taught to us to use the least expensive modalities and the most safe modalities
Right.
to get the job done. When the Black Hawks show up, everything gets done in a hurry.
Right.
But we basically use cop's car, use a rappel line, and the owner's commitment was the highlight of the whole rescue.
Right.
He stayed with her all night.
That's wonderful.
He kept everybody involved, and he followed the directions to the T.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that's a really heartwarming story, and it was quite amazing to see it unfold and
Yes.
to hear about it on social media. And the students involved did a wonderful job, and for them it made a huge impact, and I'm sure will remain with them for the rest of their careers. I think teachers like you have a major impact, a substantive and really far-reaching impact on the career trajectories of our students, and I'm sure they will never forget you and what you do for the animals and for them in your quest to be a great teacher, and you certainly are that, among many other talents and qualities, and we're very grateful to have you with us. What about your fracture repair? Tell us a little bit about that, the work in which that aspect of what you do. It's perhaps less well known. I would say that the disaster management is very well publicized, but I don't want to forget your other areas of interest too.
Sure, and the research that put me through the residency program was primarily gut.
Okay.
And everybody was on nitric oxide bandwagon, so did we. And,
Right.
LSU's No Human campus was the forebearers of that research. So we got into it, published it, degrees and so forth. It is, as an equine surgeon, it is in the back of our mind because we don't see that many long bone fractures. And usually they end up mostly in euthanasia of the ones which are 250, 300 kilograms and higher weight. So it's tweaks an interest for long bone fractures. Laminitis, which comes with it, of the overload of the contralateral limb. And so that didn't come to research because Laura Riggs spearheads the orthopedic research. Dr. Mandy Lopez does the orthopedic research. So I collaborate instead of having the primary research part of it.
Yes.
And I think LSU has, our residents has achieved a couple of milestones where they are the best ones in the nation, if not global representation of surgeons. And so because of our orthopedic research.
No, congratulations.
Yes,
We
sir,
certainly have a great role to play there, and I most research now is multidisciplinary and collaborative, and I think we show that with aplomb. And as you mentioned, the laboratory for equine and comparative orthopedic research is world class. LECOR is wonderful. It's a great asset that we have. If you had one piece of advice for junior members of faculty coming into the profession now, into academia in particular, what would that be?
That's a $1 million question.
It is, yeah. It's a hard one. Sorry about that.
That's quite all right. I would say is that let them follow their heart,
right,
above all.
Yes.
And I think I would not put a price on the profession. I would dream big, and we have different leaders come through, and now under your umbrella, I think the sky's the limit. So I would dream big. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a sound advice. Thank you very much. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much, Mustajab. It's been a pleasure as always, and many, many thanks for everything you do. A very, very worthy champion of the month.